important story from Kerala. Authorities in the state are on a high alert for the last many days after this particular incident of a cargo ship that sank right off the Kochi coast. Containers of this particular ship have now begun washing ashore along the coast in places like Kollam and Alappuzha. Now, why is this a matter of concern? This particular vessel carried over 640 containers, including 13 which had hazardous materials, perhaps chemicals, that could trigger a serious crisis if it's leaked from any of the containers, which is why the Coast Guard and all officials are right now constantly monitoring the situation, even as one container after another is washing up ashore along Kerala's coast. Let's get you a ground report first by Shibimol, and then we'll decode for you how this could be a serious threat for Keralites.
A disaster at sea that could be catastrophic for those along the coast. Authorities in Kerala are on high alert after containers from a cargo ship that sank off the Kochi coast began washing ashore. The sunken Liberian vessel was carrying over 640 containers, including 13 with hazardous materials. And that is the concern. If there is a leak in the containers with these chemicals, it will lead to a serious catastrophe. Containers are now washing up ashore in different districts in Kerala.
The Kerala coast has been put on high alert after the sinking of a container ship, a Liberian container ship, MSC Elsa 3 off the Kochi coast. In fact, the people living closer to the Alappuzha, Ernakulam, Kollam and Thiruvananthapuram coast have been asked to be vigilant as the containers that fell from the ship are likely to wash ashore in these districts. We are in Kollam right now, in Shaktikulangara, where you can see the containers that has already washed ashore. There are 11 containers here. All of these have fallen from the ship that sank off the Kochi coast on Saturday. All the crew members were rescued by the Indian Navy and Coast Guard. But the concerning factor here is that the containers have fallen. The containers from the ship have fallen into the sea, and also there is a scare of oil spill as the ship's fuel oil has leaked following the sinking of the ship. So these are the main concerns raised by the authorities here. Now the instruction that was given out to the public was, do not go near any of these containers, do not go near any objects that you find unusual along the coast. In fact, as of now, in the latest update, we have around 40 containers that has already washed ashore the coast. Most of it was found in Kollam here in various coastal regions. And the other containers were found in districts like Alappuzha and Thiruvananthapuram as of now. In fact, in a total of 40 containers has been found.
Police have been deployed across the affected coastal areas to secure the sites and prevent public interference. The affected areas have been cordoned off by local officials, and the public is not allowed within 200 meters of the site.
ഇതിന്റെ ആശങ്ക തീരണമെങ്കിൽ ഇത് ഗവൺമെന്റ് ഇതിന്റെ നേരിട്ടുള്ള കാര്യങ്ങൾ ഈ കണ്ടെയ്നറിൽ എന്താണ് വന്നതെന്നും അതുകൊണ്ടുള്ള ദോഷഫലങ്ങളും എല്ലാം ജനങ്ങളെ ബോധ്യപ്പെടുത്തേണ്ട കാര്യമുണ്ട്. അതുകൊണ്ട് ഇത് ഇങ്ങനെ സംഭവിച്ചതുകൊണ്ട് ഇനി അങ്ങോട്ട് ബോട്ടുകൾ ഫിഷിങ്ങിന് പോയിട്ട് വരുമ്പോഴത്തേക്ക് അതിന്റെ മത്സ്യം വാങ്ങാൻ ജനങ്ങൾ സാധാരണ മടിക്കും.
ടെൻഷനും ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു, എന്തൊക്കെയാണിതെന്നും അറിയത്തില്ലല്ലോ. അപ്പോൾ തലേന്ന് വാർത്തയിൽ പറഞ്ഞിരുന്നു എന്തെങ്കിലും ഇത് വന്നു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഇതൊന്നും തൊട്ടുകൂടാ, ഇതിൽ വിഷവസ്തുവൊക്കെ ഉണ്ട് എന്നൊക്കെ പറഞ്ഞിരുന്നു.
The Coast Guard is also closely monitoring the situation to alert if there is any leak. So what are in these containers? While many of them are empty, some of them reportedly contain calcium carbide, a chemical that reacts with seawater to release acetylene gas, which are highly flammable. As of now, there has been no leak detected, but officials are taking no chances. With Shibi Mole, Bureau Report, India Today.
So that's an extremely concerning situation that's playing out in Kerala. The next few days are very crucial. If there is even the smallest leak in one of those containers, it will lead to a serious crisis along that entire coastline, not just for Kerala, but for other states as well. I want to bring in Shibimol. She's joining us live from Kollam in Kerala, which is where a lot of, in fact, these particular containers have been found. Shibi, I see those behind you as well. Have all of these containers been recovered? Is there still a worry right now, Shibi, of a potential leak?
Well, Akshada, yes, there is still a worry in, when it comes to the oil spill. That's the major concern, because these containers as of now are not very dangerous, because all of these that was found near the shore are all empty. So that's not a concern, but the containers that still needs to be recovered is the concern, because we need to know what exactly is inside it. If there's any presence of chemical substances, then that's really a concern. But more than that, it's the oil spill, because there was a leakage of fuel oil from the ship also. So that is concerning. The Dornier aircraft had sprayed the oil dispersing powder right after the ship fully sank, and we understood that there was a leakage of oil. But again, this the coastline, the entire Kerala coast is on high alert. Like we showed earlier, the containers. It's actually in Kollam that we have found the most number of containers washing ashore. Right now, the procedure is to remove these containers from this area. It's all big containers, so it's not very easy to remove it one by one. They'll have to break it and then use a crane to lift, is what we have been told. What they found inside these containers are not anything danger, because any dangerous substances were not found. It's mostly food packets and food items. Tea powder is what we have been told. Like I pointed out, the containers that still needs to be recovered, that's still inside the sea, that's the major concern, because if it affects the marine life, then it's a major concern. Kerala has a very strong coastal population. A lot of them a lot of their livelihood depends on fishing. So if there's any kind of concern or worry, then that is going to affect their livelihood
very, very
in the coming
troubling
days. And they're also seeking a clarity from the government sources regarding.
Okay, Shibi, I'm going to come back to you for another live update. From what Shibi is telling me, right now the situation is worrying, because the containers that had these chemicals haven't been found just yet. They're still out at sea. And if by any chance, looking at the choppy waters there, because it is the monsoon season, by any chance, if that container hits upon a rough surface and there is a leak, it's going to be chaos, to say the least, because one, you will have your marine life being hit. Secondly, people who live in these coastal areas will all have to be evacuated, and then to control the spread will be hugely challenging in these kind of sea waters. But let me just run you through what exactly this chemical is, and I'll explain to you all of the containers that we're looking at right now. Most of them, 600 of them, most of them are empty. But besides that, there are some containers that contain calcium carbide. Calcium carbide is sand-like powder, or it's found as rocks, essentially, like grey stones. And this chemical has a garlic-like odor. What happens is, essentially, it's used very often for steel manufacturing, because when in contact with salt water, it generates acetylene gas. This gas is highly flammable. So that's a big, big point of concern there. Secondly, any contact with this liquid, when this gas is in liquid form, can cause frostbite as well for people. And exposure to the smell for a very long time can cause headache, can cause dizziness. So for people who live along these areas, if there is a leak, it's a serious health concern right now. But Shibi, it's not just limited to Kerala. If there is a leak, to control that will be very difficult, because like I said, it's the monsoons, choppy seas. The water is going to carry this far and wide, in which case there will also be an alert issued for other states like Karnataka, like also Maharashtra perhaps. But right now the Coast Guard is saying we're very closely monitoring the situation, but till each of those containers are recovered, particularly the ones that contain this calcium carbide, it will be really difficult for any sort of concrete, assurance that there will be no fallout that occurs because of this incident. We've gotten you that ground report. I'd like to thank Shibimol for getting us those details from Kollam. And this is a story we promised to track here on India Today.